All right. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Oracle Apex Office Hours JPAC session. Today, we're going to cover building an Oracle Integration Cloud OIC Monitoring Dashboard with Oracle Apex. Couple of announcements before we get started. I'm Chaitanya. I'm a Director of Product Management and Strategy for Oracle Apex at Oracle. I also lead the product management team for Apex in JPAC. Announcements. The first one is we have India Oracle Apex user groups. Utsav 2024 is coming to a city near you in India, starting from September 27th until October 26th. So this is by India Oracle Apex user group, the first Apex user group dedicated only for Apex. And this is being covered across 7 different cities in India. So the Apex team will be there as part of this roadshow. We will be there to present as well as to connect, network, and learn from you as well. Now, please do scan this. Also, we have the URL available. I would request my team to please post the URL in the chat window for the benefit of attendees. Please do register right away. This is a completely free event and everyone can join in. Please also promote this to your teams, your customers, and partners as well. As I said, this is happening across 7 different cities. It is happening in Ahmedabad, Pune, Chennai, Cochin, Gurgaon, Hyderabad, and Kolkata. Now, what does this have? This has loads of interesting sessions, especially Apex 24.1 new features, what's coming up, and also interesting demos, and also partner showcase. We'll also have an opportunity to connect with customers and learn directly from customers. Our customers are going to showcase real life, real time use cases of Apex. So please do join us in all these cities. And you might be wondering, this is not covering Bangalore. So what we are doing, the Apex product team is hosting an exclusive Apex showcase or Apex roadshow only for Bangalore. And this is happening sometime towards November. We have not yet decided the date, but we will be announcing it shortly. So please do follow us on social media and be part of this revolution. And the most important thing for today is the session by Santhosh. Santhosh is a principal product manager in the Apex product management team. Hi, Santhosh.
Hi, Chaitanya. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to JPAC Office Hours. Santhosh,
Okay.
would you like to introduce yourself and also tell us what are you going to cover today?
Sure. Hi all. I'm Santosh. As Chaitanya said, I'm principal product manager at Oracle. I'm working with the Oracle Apex product team, and in today's session, I'll be covering a use case which couple of customers, mostly from the financial sector, have come to me who have been using Oracle Integration Cloud, and they have been facing challenges providing the OIC console access to the support team because of security issues, and also that's where they were looking for an app using which the support team can monitor OIC console without even logging into the integration cloud console. So I'll be demonstrating on how I have built this app and how everyone can build this and use it, as it is built on Oracle Apex, which is Oracle's strategic low-code platform, and we can build the application very quickly.
Very excited to see this, Santosh, and looking forward to the demo and your session.
Yeah, so quickly starting, I'll be starting with the presentation. I have just a couple of slides where I'll explain what I'm going to do, what's the reason behind building this, why can't we use any other technology, and then we'll jump into the demo as to how the application looks, how did I build the application and all. The agenda which I'll be covering is just to start with what is OIC, assuming that there are folks with Apex background and may not know what OIC is. And then we'll see why do we have to monitor OIC? What is the problem statement or use case which I'm trying to address? What's the solution we are providing? And how can Oracle Apex help here? Okay. So starting with Oracle, what is OIC? OIC is nothing but Oracle Integration Cloud, which is an application integration platform of Oracle. So why do we need it? So let us say you have a couple of applications or databases on premise, and you want So nowadays everyone has their set of applications and database in their data center or on premise, and they want to communicate with a cloud, an application or a database or a social media platform which is on Oracle Cloud, let us say. So if they do a direct communication, it would be like tight coupling, so that whenever there is a change made on your target application side, let us say from you have built an application which is communicating to another application or a database in cloud or on premise itself. And let us say 1, 2, 3 are the fields which you have on the source side. Similarly, ABC are the fields which are there on the target side. You have done the mapping. Now, in the later point in future, if either you or if the target, that means if either source or target makes changes to this structure, then you will be, if target makes the changes, then source is bound to make the changes, because these are tightly coupled. So to remove that kind of tight coupling, Oracle has introduced something called as Oracle Integration Cloud, which is a cloud version. So what Oracle Integration Cloud does is, Oracle Integration Cloud takes the payload, that is 1, 2, 3, whatever the source is sending, and it will transform it or enrich the payload based on how the target is expecting it. So this integration need not be from on-premise to cloud. You can have this on other clouds. So from on-premise, you can use OIC to talk to other clouds in the sense the services in other clouds. Similarly, if your source can be Oracle Cloud, from there again, it can be Oracle Cloud or any other service on any other cloud. It can talk to on-premise, other clouds, or Oracle Cloud. So to put in simple terms, to loosely couple your integration between different applications or databases, we use OIC. So that's what OIC is. Then we'll try to understanding why do we have to monitor OIC. So as I said, we'll build integrations in OIC to talk to two different applications. Now, why we have to monitor is these integrations would be at real time and in productions, and we have to monitor them for crucial reasons. And each and every reason will have its own purpose, and it is effective to monitor it. Now we'll see what are the reasons we have to monitor it for. So I spoke about why we should monitor. First one is performance optimization. Now let us say you have an integration built, and that integration is being triggered from a source. It's triggered by a source, and it is doing a couple of activities inside that, like transforming the data or calling an external system to get the data and enrich it before passing it on to the target system. Now for this entire process to be performed, it will take some time. So if you monitor your integration, you will be able to see how much time each and every step it is taking, and you will get to know what's the total time taken by that integration, so that you will be able to optimize the integration performance. For example, let us say I have built an integration where I have some 10 activities before sending the data to the target application. Now I got a requirement to enhance this, to make call to another application to get some more data and then combine it with the existing data and send to target application. Then I can decide whether the existing integration duration, the existing integration, if I add it, will it increase the time length, or do I have to build a separate integration, or can I have both these run in parallel and then then combine the response rather than having it in a sequential way. So we can decide all those things by monitoring your integrations. The second one is error detection and troubleshooting. So all these are required for the support. So error detection and troubleshooting. Let us say I'm the support person. I've logged into the OIC console. The reason why I log in is, if at all there is a failure, I have to check what is the reason for failure, and then I have to do a troubleshoot and then see how I can address it, so that I can either re-trigger it or I can communicate to the corresponding teams, be it the integration development team, or be it the source team, or be it the target team, on how we can fix that. So that's the second reason. The third reason is availability and uptime. So as I said, all these integrations will be built in Oracle Integration Cloud. Now Oracle Integration Cloud, when we monitor only, we'll get to know whether Integration Cloud is up or down. So that's where we are checking the availability and uptime. If not, let us say source system is trying to send a data to the target application, your OIC is down. So source system keeps on getting a failure notification. So unless until there is someone to monitor, all the requests which the source system is sending will be failed. So that's where if we have a support team who keeps checking the availability, Then they'll be, because I can, let us say I'm a support person. I'm a support person for OIC. I'll not get to know if source has been sending the data or not, unless until I monitor OIC and check if my OIC is up. So even if source system sends it, I'm able to send that data to the target system. That's where we check the availability and uptime of OIC. And then I have transaction monitoring. So as I said, there will be crucial integrations built by multiple customers for their use cases. So we have to see that the entire transaction is completed end to end successfully within the specified timeline. So when we build the integration itself, we'll build the integration by thinking that this entire process will be completed, let's say in 30 seconds or 45 seconds. When we monitor, we'll get to know that this integration is being completed in the stipulated time or not. So that is one more point. And then you have compliance and auditing. So this is one of the crucial steps. Most of the financial organizations or any other sector for that case, for our regulatory compliance thing, they'll be asked for the providing the audit logs and the compliance logs. So that's where you'll get to know who has activated the integration or who has not activated the integration. And similarly, you will get to know how much time it took, or else who triggered the integration. Similarly, who has activated, deactivated. So all those kind of things you will get to know when you have compliance and auditing enabled on your integration. Now, what OIC monitoring is. So this is a typical OIC console where you'll see all the integrations. So you will be ideally activating or deactivating an integration from here. Activating publishes your integration for production purpose. That means for testing purpose. And then you have connections, which will tell the different type of connections you have created for different requirements. And the connection also tells what are all the integrations which are using and how many of them are active and inactive. And then you have lookups. Lookups, again, it'll show when you click on the lookup name, it will show what are the different columns and what are the values inside a lookup. And then if on the lookup, it will again show how many integrations are using that lookup. Using doesn't mean the integration needs to be active. So that's where again it will show how many integrations are active and how many integrations are not active. And then this is just on the design part. Now for monitoring purpose, we go to observability, and then in integrations, you will see the list of integrations, and then you will see how many requests have received. Of them, how many are successful and how many have failed. So we are concerned on the failed integration where we want to see the reason. So for that, you have to go to integrations, click on the failed instance. And then once the integration opens up, you have to go to the activity stream and click on the failure part. And then you will be able to, then you have to go to details to see what is the reason for failure. For example, here it says no data found for country India. Similarly, for any other integration, if you want to check for failures, you usually go to the integrations, you will click on the errored instances, and then you select the specific instance, go to the activity stream of that particular instance, then click on details and see the reason for failure. So you have to perform all these steps. Okay. Now let us see what's the problem statement. Why do we even have to consider, why do we even have to build this? So first thing is OIC user roles. The problem statement for example, let us say I'm from a financial, I'm a banking customer. Now I am using OIC console. I'm using integrations in OIC. I've built to integrate to different applications or to send data from an application to my database, or whenever there is a new data in my database, I have to expose it to the external application. For that, I'm building it, so I need to check that it's working perfectly fine. So I have a support team to monitor it. Now for support team to access OIC console and do this monitor, you can always restrict as to what access the support team should have using OIC. OIC has user roles like service invoker, service deployer, service viewer, and all. So let us say if Santosh is joining the team to do the support activity, every time I have to given a particular user role to Santosh. Let us say service viewer role. So service viewer role will only give access for me to see what is there. I will not be able to perform any action again. So to perform any action, like let us say I want to activate or deactivate, I'll need another user role. So every time a new user comes in, again I have to give him access to a particular OIC user role. The second one is when I do that, I'm giving the OIC endpoint to the support person, and I'm giving OIC console access. Now there are a lot of customers who say that for support team, I don't want to give them OIC console access because when I'm exposing my API also, I'm wrapping my endpoint OIC endpoint behind an API gateway, or I'm using a custom endpoint and then providing it. So why do I have to expose my OIC endpoint or console endpoint to my support team? That's the second problem statement which customers have come to me. And for monitoring purpose, the support person should be logged into his OIC console on his desktop or laptop for monitoring. They'll not be able to do it from mobile or tab mobile. The main reason being it doesn't restrict you from not logging in. You can definitely log into OIC console on your mobile, but the rendering won't be that great on the mobile screen size whatever we have. So that's the third problem statement which customers have come to me. So the solution which I proposed is to build a low-code application for that, so that you can monitor everything with respect to OIC using the low-code app, and then we'll have provide it as a PWA, which is nothing but progressive web app, so that the support team need not be in front of his desktop to monitor. He may take a break at that time. He can monitor the integrations or the requests using the progressive web application, which can be deployed on his mobile. Now we'll see how will Oracle Apex help here. So Oracle Apex, as most of you know, it's Oracle's strategic low-code application platform where you can build an entire application for monitoring purpose, or I'm saying monitoring for this use case which I'm demonstrating with very less code and very fast because it's low code by nature. The second thing is your OIC instance URL is not at all compromised because your support team will be logging into the application, so they'll only know the endpoint or the URL of your application login screen, and they'll be using the same thing on their mobile. They'll not know your OIC instance URL in any way. Then you have a two-factor authentication. So when the reason how we'll have two-factor authentication is we'll have OIC for, let us say, in my application which I have built, I'm using OAuth 2 to make calls to OIC REST endpoints. So there what I'm doing, I have configured the OAuth 2 for OIC instance in my web credentials in Oracle Apex. And then I have created a user for Santhosh. Let us say Santhosh is the support person. Then I have created a user for Santhosh in my manage developer and user. Or else if you want to do AD integration or an IAM login, then you can always have a user created there. You can do an integration with between IDCS and Oracle Apex so that he'll log into the application using that. Now let us say I have Santhosh, I have created an IDCS user. Santhosh will log in with his username and password. And then when he's making a call to OIC, the call will go to the IDCS because I have OAuth 2 enabled. It will go to IDCS, it will validate the auth token which it has generated, and then it will make the call to OIC. So we have two-factor authentication there. And then data residency and summary. So till now, you could have even thought that why can't I build this application using some other low-code application platform which is available in market, and why should I use only Oracle Apex? The reason being, as I said, most of the customers, because when you're monitoring, even for the successful instances, you'll be able to see the data which is part of either tracking variables or part of the payload if you are enabling a trace payload on your integrations. So in that case, your data is being exposed outside your OIC, which is present in OCI tenancy. Whereas if you go with Oracle Apex, as you know, Oracle Apex comes by default installed with your Oracle Autonomous Database. Or if you are using Oracle-based database service, you can install Oracle Apex on top of that. So in this way, your OIC, your data resides inside your OCI tenancy and not exposed, or it doesn't go outside to your low-code application platform via public internet, because Apex resides inside Oracle Cloud itself. Okay. And the last one is REST data source integration. So how do I make call to OIC REST APIs to get this? So Oracle Apex has something called as REST data source integration, where I can configure my REST API so that I can make a call directly there. I don't have to do any other specific integrations, or I don't have to build an integration in OIC again to fetch the required data for monitoring purposes. Now, this is a screenshot of the application on how it looks on my desktop and how it looks on mobile, just to show you that the rendering rendering wise, it doesn't have any issues because end of the day, it is Oracle Apex. So it will be the viewing will be very good on your mobile as well as on your desktop. And let us quickly jump into a demo. I'll show you how I have built this app. Okay, I hope you are able to see my screen. So this is a dashboard which I have built. So this is my login screen. So this is what the end user will be able to, I mean, the support team will be able to access. So here I'll have to provide the username and password. I've logged in. So this is how my home screen looks as I've shown in the screenshot. I can go to the dashboard. So on the dashboard, I'm trying to show the total number of requests received, of which how many are successful, how many have failed, and how many requests are aborted. And I'm also showing how many integrations are present, and among them, how many are activated, how many are in configured state, and how many are in progress state. Configured is nothing but deactivated integrations. And then I'm showing the instance status. Instance status is nothing but the requests I have received on my integrations, of which how many are successfully completed and how many have failed. I have enabled a button click on this so that when I click on this, it will navigate me to that particular screen. Now, this will show me all the activated integrations. So I have another page list integrations where I'm showing all the integrations which are active. Similarly, I can see all the integrations which are configured and all the integrations which are in progress. So in progress, I can click on the integration. It will show me a couple of details with respect to the integration. It will show a lot more details. I have just restricted it to show only these details, these specific columns for now. So and I have also enabled that I can activate or deactivate an integration from here. For example, let us say I want to deactivate this integration. As the status is activated, I can see only a deactivate button. Now, when I click on deactivate, it will ask me for a confirmation. Now, when I say, okay, go ahead, deactivate, a request will be sent and you see it says as deactivation in progress. Now I'll just go here, refresh. This should not be here because I've filtered the status as activated. So Apex Hello World is not here anymore. Now if I go to configure, I should see Apex Hello World here. Similarly, if I want to activate it, I'll click on it. You will see it as configured state, which means it's not activate. And that's where you have the activate button enabled. I'll click on activate. And then my integration will be activated in a couple of seconds. I'll refresh it. It will be gone from here. Now, if I go to activated, it will show me that the integration is activated. And ideally, support team is not supposed to activate or deactivate an integration. That would be the usual question which most of the OIC folks with OIC background have. So what we can do with Oracle Apex is, let us say I'm trying to deactivate, but I'm not supposed to deactivate it without an approval. So Oracle Apex has something called as workflows component or a workflows or an approval component. So when I click on deactivate button, I can make sure that the workflow will get triggered or an approval component will get triggered, and that will send an email notification to the manager for approval. Only once the manager has approved it, the workflow continues and it will deactivate the integration. So that is an enhancement which we can do if that is required. And then the next one is where I have the list connections, and list connections will show me all the different type of connections which I have created in my OIC instance. So I can use this and I can format it based on let us say the adapter type. So if you see for an FTP adapter, I have these many connections. For a no data adapter, I have these many. Similarly for ADW and all. Now let us quickly see what am I showing here. So when you click on this, it will show that it's an FTP adapter, and this is the name I have given to it. It is in progress. That means it's not activated, and there is no private endpoint configured for this endpoint. And the authentication mechanism which I'm using is custom. And you see active/used is 0/0. That means there are no integrations which are in which I'm using this connection, and none of the integrations are active. Now let us say take an adapter which I use a lot. Let us say RESTCon is the connection which I'm using. You see the status is configured. Now if I click here, it says I'm using basic auth here, and it says there are 10 integrations which are using it, of which 8 are active. And there is no private endpoint configured here. Okay. Okay, let me do one thing. This is my OIC console. Let me show you here. I'll just show you that the data, whatever I'm showing here, will make sense. Okay, if you see RESTCon, this is the connection which I was talking about. You see, this is a basic auth, and there are 10 integrations which it is using, which are using this. So this /10 is nothing but the integrations which are using it. So when you click on this, it will show you the active integrations which are 8 and the inactive integrations which are 2. So that's your 8 by 10. Similarly, I can click on list lookups. It will show me all the lookups configured. I can click on this. Now, if you see, this is a lookup. It's in configured state. There are 4 rows in that lookup, of which, and it is being used in 4 integrations, of which again 3 are active. 3 integrations are active. Okay. So let me quickly show you the lookup as well. Okay, so you see here there are 4 integrations here, of which 3 are active and 1 is not active. So that's what I was showing here. And there are 4 records inside, 4 values inside my lookup. Okay. So that's on the lookup part. And then list instances is nothing but the request which I have received. The date you may ask as to it doesn't show any data here, then why do you show this? This is nothing but the count which I had from the day I have my instance is created. So this will show here. And here, if you see, it doesn't show any data. So just for testing purpose, let me quickly test couple of integrations. I'll do both a success and a failure one. Okay, so this would be a successful one. I got a 200 OK, which is success. Now let me test a failure where I gave a comma, but I haven't given the next field which is required. So it gave me a 400 bad request. Okay, now let us quickly test one more integration. Let us test this FX ATP Finance, where I usually have to pass the country data. Let us say Sri Lanka. There is no data for Sri Lanka. So this should give me a error output. So this, it has given me a 500 cent internal server error. Now let us give a country for which I have data. Run. So this has given me a successful one. Okay. And as I said earlier, how do we do that? Monitor it. You'll go to observability, integrations, and then you'll click on the errored instance. You click on the instance, go to activity stream, go to fault details, and this says no data for countries. So I have to do these many steps. Now let us refresh here. This will take a couple of seconds. Let me go to list instances. So this has shown me that there are 4 requests which are sent, and 2 are in completed state and 2 are in failed. I'm showing instance ID only for the failure case, and I'm not showing the instance ID because for failure case, I need to know the reason why it has failed. In the sense the support team needs to know. So if I click on this, it will open up and it will show that's a 400 failure. And the reason is there is no data found for Sri Lanka. Similarly, for Hello World, where I have removed the second element, it says that the incoming data does not conform the NXST schema. So using this, the support team will understand the reason behind the failure, and they'll update the appropriate team to send the valid request. And similarly, the last one which I had was audit records. So this will show me all the audit records, which audit details or the log details which happened on my integration. This doesn't capture the logs of each and every integration, like what's happening inside the integration. This is on a high level as to who has created it. I mean, who has logged or unlocked an integration, who has activated it, who has exported it. Basically, the logs which are required for audit and compliance purpose. So it will show me on what connection or on what integration that change has happened, what version of it, and what is the operation which has happened. If you see here, it is activate. So if you remember, when I'm showing list integration, I have deactivated and activated the Apex Hello World integration. So that's where you see it is state change first, then it is deactivated. After that, when I tried to activate it, it said state change, activate phase change, and then it said activate. So, and it has logged the user ID. This is nothing but the client ID using which I am making the call. Whereas for these, if you see this, it shows as Santhosh Kumar because I have logged in with that user and made the changes. Similarly, it will show the respective message. Now, to do all these things, what I have done is, let me quickly jump into the page to show you how I have done. And just for your information, I have built this entire application even before Oracle Apex 24 1 got released, which was on June 17, 2024. So I have not used the features latest features which came up with 24.1. So let me take you to a sample. Let us see how I have achieved it using this particular page. The approach would be one and the same. Okay, so if you see here, I just have a interactive report region where I'm calling data from this temporary table. Now, how now our next question would be, how is data even coming into this temporary table? So as this is for demo purpose, what I have done is I have created a pre-rendering process. I have created a process chain inside which I have two procedures: fetch audit records and insert audit records temp table. And I have a package, fetch records package, where I'm calling two procedures. One is to fetch the records, and the second one is to insert the records into a temporary table. Okay, I'll quickly show you what I have done inside the package. Okay, so fetch audit records is the package. So this is just the package specification, as you know. And if you see here, the first thing which I'm doing is deleting the audit. I have two tables. One is JSON table where I'm storing the JSON payload which I'm receiving from my OIC REST API. And then I'm deleting the data present in the temp table. So when I make a call to OIC REST API, I get a JSON payload. That payload I'm inserting into the JSON audit records JSON table. Then I'm parsing the JSON payload and I'm inserting the records into list audit records underscore temp table. So every time my page renders, these two actions will happen. Then I'm making a call to my OIC REST API. This is my OIC REST API to fetch the monitoring details. And here, before making the call, I have to pass OAuth credentials. So I'm calling this. And if you see, this is my IDCS endpoint where I'm generating the token. And this is the credentials. So I have configured web credentials in Oracle Apex, where I have given the client ID, client secret, and scope the way we provide in Postman if you want to test your OIC endpoint. And once I get the data, I'm storing it in L result, which is a JSON payload, and I'm inserting the data into the temporary table, into the JSON table. After that, if you see here, I hope this is visible. Okay, so if you see here, I'm parsing the data using JSON underscore tables format, where I'm fetching the relevant fields for me into and inserting that into the temporary table. So I repeat this entire process every time a page loads. This is why I'm doing this rather than appending it, because this is just for demo purpose. I have built it and I don't want it to eat my database storage. That's where I am doing this. But for your case, you don't have to store the JSON. You can parse directly on the fly without storing a JSON payload again and then inserting that. So you don't have to do two steps and you don't have to do delete at all, because you would be needing this data for future reference. And again, you can have purging on the database or deleting data which is 3 months or old. That again depends on requirement of each and every customer. So similarly, I have packages created for fetching the connections, fetching the integrations. Nothing but list connections page is running on top of this package. List instances is showing the data by running the procedures inside this package. Similarly, for the integrations list, lookups, and the message count, whatever you're seeing on my home screen. So that is coming from message count, and then integration status update. So this is a package I have created to activate or deactivate an integration. Okay, now I just have one more screen which I'll show. Now, okay, as I said, I have built this entire thing before 24.1. So I thought, why not, and when I'm showing a demo, why not show how easy it is for me to do this entire thing? So whatever I have shown here, I don't have to do this much when I have 24.1. Why? Because 24.1 has something called as 24.1 release of Oracle Apex has support to nested JSON. So I have used that. So if you go to REST data source here, this is a page where I have collated whatever you see on all these pages. I have collated it into a single page just for demonstrating the capability of Oracle Apex. So here I can support team can select which instance they want to monitor. Let us say Phoenix development. It shows me all the integrations. And here I did not filter everything because I want to show what are all the fields it can fetch. Earlier I had to, if I want to show extra fields, let us say on list integrations page, if I want to show here, let us say when I click here, I want to show what are all the connections this particular integration is using rather than going to list connections and check for each and every integration. Here, if I come, because the OIC REST API provides that value, so I want to show that. So this is my, sorry. Okay, so this is my list integration. So if I come here, it will show me the endpoint. I can hide this column. I can come to columns here and I can hide it if I don't want to expose my OIC endpoint. And then it will show what are all the tracking variables created. And yeah, this is what I was referring to. It says what are all the connections I'm using. So for example, here I'm using only one connection. Whereas for this integration, I'm using RESTCon is one connection, and then I'm using another connection called as OCMCon. Similarly, you can use, you don't have to write any code for this. The way I have written a PL SQL package procedure to get the data. And similarly, you can see all the connections, the role, and how many are in configured status, of which how many integrations are using it and how many are active integrations in that. And then if there is any agent group configured in on that connection, it will show that as well, along with the private endpoint. And then again, lookup, if you see here, when I was showing you the lookup, I did not show you what are the fields which are present inside the lookup. Ideally, you would be needing that. I did not do that because that's a nested JSON, and I did not build this to show the nested JSON. Fetch the values of the, basically the columns in the lookup. So here I didn't have to do any hard work to build it because Oracle Apex 24.1 supports nested JSON. So I'm basically displaying all the columns which are present inside my lookup. And then the instances, this again is similar to what you have seen earlier. I'll click on this. It will show me the error, the reason for the failure, and it will show me the instance reporting level production and all. Basically what I want to say is here I have shown you can get a lot more data using 24.1 REST data sources because you don't have to do any parsing. And then you have audit records. Now let us see how this page is built. Okay, so I have created a list of values drop down basically to check to select the instance. And then for integrations, if you see, I have a REST source called as list integrations. Similarly, for connections, I have a REST source list connection. Lookup, I have a lookup connection, lookup REST source. And similarly, for integration instances, I have that. Audit records, I have a REST source. Now let us see this REST data sources, how I have configured it. So when you go to shared components under data sources, you will have REST data source. As I said, this is on Oracle Apex 24.1. So if you see here, I have given my OIC endpoint where I'm passing data at runtime. Let us say errored instance. So this is my OIC REST endpoint, which I'm hitting on. And I said that I want to use the credentials. I've configured credentials in my web credentials, and I'm using that credentials. And this is the token URL using which I'll be generating the token. So using this credentials and this URL, I'm generating a token, and that token will be passed in the header. And when I gave this endpoint, this REST endpoint, it has given me the operations which it will allow, and then I pass the header, all the headers which it requires, and then that's it. I got the data whatever I want. Now that's how easy it will be. So let me show you a simple one would be list connections. Now let me quickly test that. If I do a test operation, you see, you got the data directly, whatever I was showing you on the report. I didn't have to do any parsing here, unlike I have created a package, inserted, got the JSON, formatted it, and then inserting into table. All that need not be done if you are using a REST data source directly. If you see the response body, okay, so this has more data, so it's not showing basically, but yeah, it will be a JSON payload which it is automatically parsing, as 24.1 supports nested JSON. So Yes, that's pretty much from my side. And I have got couple of requests from couple of people when I have created a blog post of this on Medium asking me if I can help with the code or if I can guide them on the code. So I'm working on a blog post on Oracle official website. And once that is done, we'll be providing this code over GitHub, and then we'll be able to help you. You can directly deploy that code. You can download the code from GitHub and deploy in your respective Apex environment, update the credentials and start using it. So that's pretty much from my side. Let me know if there are any queries.
Santosh, there are some questions in the Q&A. If you can just quickly monitor them, I can ask them for you.
Sure. Okay, so the first one is from Debelina Ghosh. What will be done when click to on activate button? Can you show the backend functionality? Okay, sure. So as I said, you have something called as OIC REST APIs. Just go here. I'm here using OIC 3 instance, Gen 3. So if I go here, I'll have integrations, and under integrations, I have something called as update, activate or deactivate integration. So this is the integration which I'm basically, this is the REST API which I'm basically calling. So let me take you to that. As I said, this integration status update is the endpoint which I'm calling. So I'm using auth token to send, and this is the endpoint which is there in OIC documentation, which I'm calling, where I'm passing the integration name, and I'm sending it. And in the body, you will see the payload which I'm sending. So body will basically contain what I'm doing, whether I'm activating it or whether I'm deactivating. So that I'm passing as part of the body. Okay, and the next.
Do we monitor the loads with SLAs?
Do we monitor the load with SLAs? So, okay, so SLA can be provided. As a support person, I can have the SLA provided, and we can monitor it as a support person constantly monitors it. Ideally, SLA will be given for a particular integration. So the support person can be provided the SLA for that particular integration, and he'll be able to track it. So it has got nothing to do with Apex, but if you want to implement a logic where a notification is to be sent, let us say I have an integration which is supposed to be completed in 45 seconds. And if it is beyond that, I want to send a notification. So you can enable push notification with Oracle Apex, where it will send you a notification on your mobile or email or on your desktop saying that this integration is taking more time, so that the support person can log in, go to the integrations list instances where you can see all the instances which are triggered, and then he can see the reason why it's taking more amount of time.
Thanks, Santosh. Then is
And
Apex retrieving OIC info directly from OIC? And is this OIC 2 or 3? Is there any database like ADB for sorts of repository purpose? This is from Vivian.
yeah, so Vivian, to answer that, Apex is retrieving info as I have shown you. I'm calling the OIC REST APIs directly. And this is on OIC 3. OIC 2 also has REST API endpoints. So in my case, I have an OIC 3 instance, so I have used it to build this application. You can very well use OIC 2 REST APIs as well to build the data. And to answer the second part of the question, you can use I'm using ADB, where I've created tables, and if you remember, I've shown you a temporary table where I'm inserting the data. So the temporary table is in my Apex schema, which is inside autonomous database only. So if you need to store the data, you don't have to delete the way I'm doing it. You can store it for any number of days or months as per your requirement. And
Okay.
the next one is, does the error instance API call requires debug enabled in OIC instance? Okay, so this doesn't need a debug enabled. So even in your OIC console, whenever it errors out, you will basically have an instance ID. When you click on the error instance ID, you'll go to activity stream and see, right? It would be the same thing. You don't have to enable anything specific to be called from Apex. So whatever we are doing on OIC, it works the same here. And then I have a query from Arun Kumar. Hello, suggestion. It is good to have schedule details covered as part of monitoring screens, as it is important for support. Definitely that we can add one more screen where we can see what are all the integrations which are scheduled and whether it has got executed or not. Definitely, that's a good thing. We can do that. And then I have a query from Nicholas. He says, can I monitor how many percent of message pack consumed? Let us say I configured 5 message pack, which is 25K messages. How can I check how much is consumed for the hour? So OIC provides REST APIs, I guess, only to see how many messages are consumed or how many, sorry, OIC, as per my knowledge, OIC there is no REST API directly, which will tell how many messages are consumed. But if at all there is a REST API available, you can definitely use it to see how many messages are consumed. But then you may have to hard code as to how many what is the message pack you have. As you said, 25,000 messages you have. So you may have to hard code that bit, because I don't think it provides you how many message packs you have configured. It may only tell you how many messages are consumed. So if an API is available, then you can definitely do that. So that has got to do more on the OIC REST API side than on the Apex. But yeah, as I have shown you, you can do REST API integration using Apex. So this can be very well done if there is an API endpoint available from OIC. So why Apex? We can achieve this through VBCS as well. So if you use VBCS, let us say VBCS comes with a default storage, and you will not be able to store the data beyond a certain time, and you may have to and that storage, whatever VBCS uses, that is for your database object, for your objects basically. So the reason why I have chosen Apex is a strategic low code platform which Oracle has been using, and it's in market since 20 plus years. And the Apex runs on top of autonomous database, and it can store data for any number of days you want. I don't have to add external storage for data for that. And then I have a question from Sujit, who's asking, existing OIC Gen 3 retains logs for 24 hours earlier. With Gen 2, says it was 3 days. When you enable tracing, so with Apex dashboard, can I store the logs for a longer period? Yes. So as I've shown you, end of the day, I'm making there are two ways. If you're not using a REST data source, I'm anyways using the package and procedure, where I'm making a REST API call to OIC endpoint, getting the log data, and I'm storing it in a temporary table. You can retain the data in table for longer period. If it is a REST source which you are using, you may have to create another table where you want to store this data, because this data, whatever you have in the REST source, will get updated based on the data availability at OIC end. And if you create another table, you can synchronize between these two tables. Then I have a question from Husnain Ali. Would calls to API of OIC cost message packs? No, it doesn't. Oh yeah, it does, because that's end of the day, it's a call which you are making to OIC to get the data. So if you are, let us say you have built an integration, you are making a call to OIC to get the data, it would work in the similar fashion. It will cost you a message pack at OIC end. And what's the advantage of Apex over OCA observability and monitoring? Yeah, this is good. OCA observability and monitoring will only tell whether your OIC instance is up, and what percentage of your OIC it is using. It doesn't give you the monitoring data with respect to, unless until you enable logging and pass the logging data. You have to enable logging on OIC, and then you have to pass the data to OCA logging service. Unless until you do that, and again in OCA logging service, you have to build a parser for this data, whatever OIC is sending. Let us say audit log or something, you have to enable that. And then you have to, though OCA observability management has parsers to do this parsing, but yeah, you have to do all these steps. Rather than that, you can use Apex, where you can make a REST API call to get the data. But yes, it doesn't get you the data, like what are the lookups you have, if you have to activate or deactivate an integration. So and audit records, all these things will not be provided with you will not be able to monitor those things with OCA observability and monitoring, as per my knowledge. And to answer Sikandar Hayat, if support team found an error here in this app, then how he will resolve? Still, we need to access OIC. Okay, support team, that's what I'm saying. Support team need not resolve the issue. If, let us say that's a payload issue, they'll send out an email to the source system or the target system to fix that. If it is a code issue, they'll not be fixing it. They'll have to send they'll have to send an email to the manager or to the developer to fix it. So this application is only if we provide OIC access, then there is no point then That's what, as I have shown in the first in the problem statement slide, you need to provide them with if they are fixing the issue, that means they'll have service developer access role on OIC. So when you provide it, they have the entire control of the OIC console. So this application is purely for the support team who doesn't resolve the issues. Rather, they'll monitor and they'll inform if there are any issues happening. Ideally, you will not see most of the issues with respect to fixing the code when you are in production. And I have a question from Sudeep. What all security mechanism Apex REST capability supports? Yeah, it does support basic auth and OAuth. I have used OAuth because from OIC3 itself, you will not be able to use basic auth to do the testing. And more than basic auth, OAuth is more secure. That's where I have used an OAuth here. And yeah, Oracle Apex supports a lot of all the security mechanisms, whatever you have. So there is no restriction on that. I have a question from Sudeep Datta. Can we implement Oracle ERP Cloud custom roles to provide access to Apex dashboard? So this is for not for the OI. So I understand that this is not for the OIC monitoring dashboard, which I have built. You are asking for. You are looking at building a separate dashboard for your OIC ERP Cloud. So if you have that, if you are using the, for example, let us say here I'm using OIC REST APIs, and I have not created a user for that. I have my, or else to put in simple terms, if you remember, I told that I have configured the client ID, scope, client ID, secret, and scope in my web credentials in Oracle Apex. So that I have created. So that I have created in IDCS for a specific user. And once that is done, any user who is logging into the support portal, it's a two-factor authentication. The second factor is where I'm configuring the credentials with respect to OIC, which is OAuth 2. If it is ERP cloud you are referring to, there again, that part that comes as the second part of the authentication. The first part is only for the support team to log in. And whatever I'm demonstrating, this is just to emphasize how easy it would be to use Apex for data residency purpose and how fast you can go to market. And not to show, not to say that you can't build it completely on VBCS or any other thing. Only to address the three challenges with respect to data residency. I don't have to scale up my data store. I don't have to add additional storage and encapsulating my OIC endpoint. I have a question. Can you please show the backend of badge list? You have shown colored cards in first page. Okay, so I'm writing a blog post. So there I'll be giving, and also I'll be publishing the code on GitHub. So you'll be able to see all these details there. I have a couple of queries, so I'm running short of time to answer those. So if I have time, I'll come back to your question and I'll show you that. How about OIC? Can we use OIC instead of Apex? OIC you can use to build your charts, but you'll not be able to build an application where you can activate or deactivate. Or if you want to see what is the error from a specific application, you'll not be able to do those things. And if there are multiple integrations that is inside different projects in OIC, then how can we navigate that? You can do that. So as per my knowledge, with OIC Gen 3, there was a new feature release which will show the entire diagram as to what all integrations it has triggered. So as long as I have the API for that, or let us say there are 4 integrations which I'm calling from one integration, I'll have something called as what was that? There will be a context ID or something which will flow across all the integrations in that entire transaction. So I can make use of that ID, which will be part of ideally a tracking variable or something, and then I can show what are all the integrations it has triggered. So that's very much possible. Can I store the response data as well as instance ID in table permanently? You can do it, Debelina, but I don't see a need for that because support team is not supposed to have access to the request or response data. So if you feel the support team it is fine if your support team can access the response data, you can very well store that. There is no harm. I mean, there is no way. It's not that it's not possible with Apex. You can very well do that. I'm not storing it only because I don't need that. For doing that, again, as I said, you can do either REST data synchronization, or you have a package where you can, as I have shown you, I have a package where I'm inserting the data. So there only I can store the response data and I don't have to delete it. I can store it for as much time as I need it. So the last question which I have is how we can show user in Apex whether OIC instance is up or down. Okay, so the simple thing, okay, let me show you. So if you remember on this screen, this basically shows me all the list integrations. So if my OIC is down, I'll not be able to see anything here. It doesn't show me anything. Or if you are using 24.1, you just select the instance and this doesn't show any data. That itself means that your OIC is down. Hope I have answered that.
I think we have reached the end of the questions. To be honest, we have never seen so many questions in any of the JPAC officer session. Thank you, Santosh. I think it was a great informative session and all of us learned something new today. So to conclude the session, I would like to go over our training page that we have on apex.oracle.com/go/training. Please visit the training page. And if you are new to Apex and you want to learn in detail about Oracle Apex, the Apex product team have developed the end-to-end course for learning, and you can go to apex.oracle.com/go/training and access all the courses there. The Apex Developer Professional is an in-depth course, and we have Apex Foundations as well, which will give you an overview of the course. And what's more is that once you complete the Developer Professional training, you can also take up the certification, which we have on the certification page. Along with these courses, we also have the Empowering Low-Code Apps with AI course. So this course is specifically teaches you about the latest features in Apex 24.1 related to the AI features in Apex, and also how you can integrate with other OCI AI services. And all these courses are for free, and you can go and enroll at any point of time.
One last thing, Apurva. So I have provided the link to my Medium blog where I have mentioned how this entire application has been built. We are working on building a comprehensive blog on our official site where where I'll explain end to end as to how it is built. And as I said, we'll also provide you a GitHub link of the code, which you can download and start using.
Yeah, thank you. If any of you want to come forward and present in any of our Apex Office as JPAC session, please reach out to us and we would love to host you in one of our sessions and or showcase your use case as well.
And there was a last question from Ayan Sen. So Ayan Sen, I see that you are asking how to get alert notification if an agent is down at on-prem system. So so you have an API for that, which is to retrieve the status of an agent or an agent group. So you can use that API, and that data can be stored inside a table, and then you can have push notification enabled on your Oracle Apex application, which will send a notification to on your application or on an email that your agent is down, so that you can go ahead and check for that. Sorry, Apurva, you can go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. I think, I think we're at the end of this session, and if you have missed any of our previous sessions, we have uploaded all our recordings into the YouTube playlist that is being displayed on the screen. So do visit the playlist to access the previous sessions. And here are some shortcut links for you to learn more about Apex. With that, we have come to the end of the session. If you have more questions, I think you can reach out to us at any point of time or connect with us on social media, LinkedIn or X, and we'll answer your queries. So thank you and have a great rest of the day, and looking forward to your participation in future sessions. Also, we are looking forward to meet you in person at the Apex Utsav events. So please register and see you there. Thank you.